Hiya, it's day one at the Tpas conference. We've just had the opening session with Nigel Wilson, Chief Exec of with the Shore Community Housing Group. What for you were the key messages that Nigel was talking about there?
I think the passion and enthusiasm that he has for involving the whole community is a really important part of the message. And I think he was talking about a sector divided, and that it's the time to actually change that, to get people behind the message that you need to involve all of your community, all of your residents, and not just think about it in terms of a silo. And for me, that was a really important point. I think the questions and comments from the residents around not stereotyping tenants was equally important, and in the backcloth of the terrible tragedy at Grenfell Tower, it can't be a more appropriate time to be talking about not stigmatising a large portion of the country's community.
Mm-hmm. He was very strong, wasn't he, on place? So not just building homes, but that sense of place, which you just alluded to. And I know that's what you're passionate about, aren't you? Just talk a little bit more about that.
I thought him talking about people and places was absolutely right. I happen to have been to Parkway Green before they became Wythenshawe, and really impressed with the way they'd actually used their resources to assist the community in actually getting stronger. And you won't actually solve a community's problems by actually doing things to them. You have to work with people. And I think that message of places and people and places was a really strong, for me, a really strong message of what we should be about. And I think that was echoed from the questions and comments that came from the floor.
You've been chatting to some of the delegates as they've been arriving over Oscar Brown. What are you picking up are the key things that tenants want to talk about here today?
Well, I think it's interesting to note there are a lot of new people here, and I was talking to some not new residents, but people who were here for the first time. And in the first group I spoke to, there were shared owners, resident tenants, and it really just brings home that message of the whole community. So the group I spoke to from Cotsway, for example, they are engaging all of their tenures, not just thinking of it as a tenant, a tenant only participation. And the conversation I had with them about the work they were doing and the value of the work they were doing within the scrutiny was really important. And the challenges they face also of some people thinking, oh, I'm busy, you don't really need me to be giving you this information. But the message strongly coming from the top of the organisation that they really got that it is important, and making all of their staff appreciate the value added by that sort of engagement. And then a bit later on, meeting some people from Watford community, some old friends from my time down in Hertfordshire, and them seeing it as still being passionate about what they do, and the buzz they're getting from coming to something like this where they share ideas with colleagues and friends, old and new, which is indeed what you said in your speech at the beginning of the conference. It's old and new, isn't it? Meeting new friends is an important part of what we're about.
Absolutely, and I think Nigel talks about that as well, saying it's an investment of a lot of money to come to a conference, isn't it? So it's about not only the workshops, which are fantastic, but it is about the connections and learning outside, isn't it? It is valuable, that, isn't it?
I heard him say something slightly different. I mean, I think people say it is a lot of money, but actually if you come away from here with one idea that you can take back and implement, it's actually cheap consultancy. You'd be paying a company thousands of pounds for something that you get not for free, but you get relatively cheaply by coming here and engaging with both people who are residents of organisations but also people involved in community engagement on a professional level. And I think if you actually see it as that, it's not expensive.
And just finally then, for this lunchtime today, what are the 3 things that you are most looking forward to about the conference?
Well, I think the buzz around the place is first and foremost. It's just an amazing event with so many people wanting to share, and that's a really important. I think how we get the message that community engagement is here and now, and we seize the moment, which is what Nigel was saying. And I think meeting people I haven't yet met is the last of those. There are loads of people. Someone standing over there who I don't know, but just hearing from people that you don't know and hearing what they've got to say. And I think that was what Nigel said also. It's about listening, not just talking. Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.